Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How you all doing? Welcome to some official Troy, a Total War Saga gameplay. The guys over the Creative Assembly were kind enough to give me an early access copy of Troy to record some battle footage for you here today. So a huge thank you to them and their community team. I'll put in the description below the Steam page for Troy Total War if you'd like to check out some further information. So here today I'm going to be playing as Hector, Prince of Troy, against Achilles. So guys, I want to make a deal with you. If this video can hit, say, 200 likes within 24 hours, I will do a double upload here today and release my second video early, playing as Achilles in this battle. So, Troy Total War is set in the Trojan War era, in the Bronze Age of the Mediterranean. Hector, Prince of Troy, who we're going to be playing as here today, known as the Shining Helm, the champion of Troy and heir to King Prim, had already made a name for himself at the onset of the Trojan War as one of the finest warriors of this age. The prince was renowned for his courage and unwavering devotion, leading the war effort against the Achaeans despite his objections to the initial conflict. Rightio then guys, let's go through some of the units that we're going to be playing with here today. We're playing on the hard battle difficulty on the fields of Troy. So we've seen some of the new and mythical units. I do have a lot of information which I'd like to share with you here today. But interestingly to note, the Minotaur has a similar hit point registration to like of agents and units in Total War Warhammer. So we've got some renowned swords here, the defenders of Troy as well. You're most welcome to pause and have a look at some of the stats. Please do take into consideration in the top left hand corner, the development is still in progress. I'm still using an early access copy of Troy, so things are subject to change. We've got some spear fighters here as well for Hector. Moving along now to some archers, and they're their stats as well in the left hand corner. Front line of archers, second of spears. We've got some further infantry at the back with Hector, of course, more defenders of Troy. Hector has a great array of heavy and defensive units. Here are some more defenders of Troy here as well, pushing further down to champions of Troy and similar units that we've already seen as well, along with the Minotaur at the back. I'll quickly go around here now and show you the city of Troy on the outskirts of this battle. And further behind Achilles' deployment is the ships with the Achaean host. Hector was raised from birth to lead his father's armies, was feared by his enemies, and could turn the tide of battle through sheer bravado and military cunning, wavering in ornate of bronze armor, carrying a shield. He wielded a mighty spear with skill and ferocity in equal parts. Hector's play style in Troy, the champion of Troy, Hector is well suited to defensive masters who prefer to gradually wear down the opponent before landing the killing blow. His roster is focused on tough, heavy and expensive, well-armored units which can be used to crush frontal attacks. Here are some of Hector's abilities, similar to that of Total War Warhammer, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. One of Hector's abilities is Divine Focus, which gives a plus 50 weapon damage, a minus 75 attack interval. Hector also has the ability Herculean Resolve, which makes him unbreakable and immortal for 120 seconds. Another hero ability, Favor of Asclepius, I think that's how you say that, correct me if I'm wrong, is a self-allying aurora, replenishing hit points of friendly targets, increasing the hit points as well. The Shout ability is a morale buff, giving a plus 5 weapon damage, 30 morale, and melee attack. And last but not least, we have Vanquish, giving a 20% speed, 25% armor piercing, and charge buff. Let's move on to the Achaeans. Achilles, warlord of the Myrmidons, swift-footed Achilles, legendary hero of the Iliad, was the mightiest warrior the world has ever known. He's seemingly invincible in combat, which was subject of myth and conjecture. Legend claims that his mother was a sea goddess who granted him invulnerability as an infant, dipping his head first into the waters. Well, forgetting his Achilles at the end of the day, I guess. Such was the might that no other man could lift his spear Pelion. Achilles was the leader of the Myrmidons, a elite fighting force from the Pantheia, said to have been constructed by Zeus himself from a colony of ants. Ferociously loyal, they fought with ferocity and overcame unsurmountable odds through sheer and unflinching determination. While Achilles' mere presence was often enough to turn the tide in battle, the Panthean champion was prone to great, unpredictable mood swings that could either shake or bolster the resolve of the entire Achaean host. Achilles' playstyle is reflected as the mightiest warrior of the Iliad, but he's hot-tempered and unpredictable. Achilles is for the risk-taker who prefers to seek out and overcome averse heavy units in their disposal. His roster focuses on great and rapid speed, high octane and momentum, and maneuverability, as well as a versatile in battle. He also has a large number of unique units. So let's go through some of the mythical units which are going to be available in Troy Total War. So the Creative Assembly have opted this term the truth beyond the myth approach for the game. So, the myth approach allows them to draw from a multitude of mythological and most renowned monsters and include them on the battlefield of Troy, historically represented, however, in what the truth would have been. This approach allows them to expand unit diversity by offering unique warriors to rosters and also adding an extra layer of tactical versatility to combat. Now, to get these units, it's going to be easier said than done. So they only can be recruited by obtaining specific regions throughout the campaign map or through the Divine Will mechanic. These units are hard to obtain but are extremely powerful to use in battle. First up, the Minotaur, which we've seen in action throughout this battle, is a powerful unit which can cause massive disarray to the enemy troops. Using his Bull Rush ability, he can trample through the front lines, opposing enemies to get to the middle of the fray, where he can use his Savage Roar to cause huge morale penalties. The Centaurs, which Achilles is using in this fight, are mobile cavalry units which can harass, flank, and ease enemies and close combat abilities. They are masters of cycling and charging, hammer and anvil tactics. They rely on volleys of deadly projectiles to keep the enemy units close to control. Now, throughout recording this video, there was a blog post by the Creative Assembly quite recently. They actually announced 2 more mythical units that you can get in the game. First of all, we have the Cyclops, and we've also got the Giants as well, which you can recruit. The unit variety for Troy Total War is going to be different than other Total Wars. The battlefields of ancient Greece and Troy were predominantly infantry focused, with a scarce amount of cavalry and available reserved chariots. In order to reflect this historical realism faithfully, they've made the decision to make greater distinctions between infantry classes to promote more dynamic gameplay and also make it harder to get those cavalry and chariot units. So infantry in Troy have 3 weight classes: light, medium, and heavy. The differences between them have been accentuated from previous Total Wars. So the light and medium spears won't be similar to previous ones. A unit's class and role define their overall speed, mass, and momentum. The greater mass means collisions are more impactful, while speed gives inter-infantry flanking a more prominent role. So a great example is this battle. Hector is a strong defensive leader and unit. He can hold the front line with a staunch row of spears, while Achilles is high octane, agile, looking to charge and wrap around the enemy flank. The terrain has also slightly been altered to reflect the Bronze Age Mediterranean. Realistically, there are new unit types within the battlefield. So there's mud, which severely impedes the movement of heavy units, which get stuck under the sheer weight of their colossal armors, while light units can move freely through it. So you can really min-max within the battlefield. You can use specific terrain tiles, you could say, to hold positions, and these are littered throughout the battlefields of ancient Greece. We do have similar things in Warhammer, but this will be greater exacerbated in battle. The long grass as well allows units to hide in the tall grass, to disappear from enemy view and snipe with their weapons, ideal with players with a disposition for using vanguard tactics. So if you already use that quite a lot, like in Warhammer 2, I personally don't too much, but if you're the type of person to lay ambushing traps and skirmishes throughout the battlefield and using the vanguard deployment, you'll love this in Troy. Sand as well slightly impacts the speed of all units, but a useful commander knows how to use even the slightest advantage to the terrain. So throughout the battlefield, sand will get you bogged down in it. Coming to the last sort of final minutes of this particular battle, guys, but let me know in the comments if you have any questions for Troy, a Total War Saga. I'll try and answer as many of them as I can. I am under NDA on some things that I can't answer, but let me know in the description below if you have any questions, and I'll try and answer them as best I can. But I do recommend just following the Creative Assembly and Total War where you can. There's going to be a lot of further information to come on the Steam page and throughout the next coming weeks and months. At the moment, on the official Steam page, it says Troy is going to be released in 2020, but only time will tell. So most of our heavies have still remained. Hector is at half strength there now, along with our Minotaur. Our Minotaur actually took out swift-footed Achilles himself. How hilarious is that? So we held our front line well, inverted the flanks on the left and right. We did have archer supremacy compared to Achilles' army. If you want me to play a battle with Achilles, I'm more than happy to do so once the like target is hit. So the Minotaur here is going to come charging in with his bull rush abilities. There's only a couple of minor units still holding out against the Trojans. So we're fighting on the fields of Troy here today, and the Minotaur is coming storming through like a bull in a china shop. But please do take into consideration as well that I'm using an early access copy, and things are subject to change. The difficulty was locked for this particular battle build I'm using. You could either play on easy or hard. You couldn't actually go any higher. I'm assuming it's just because of the locked build. And so there's only one or two so units left. There's actually one guy in that particular unit. Let's send Hector to go and deal with him. I guess he's sort of standing stoic in defeat. He thinks he's the next Achilles. This might be Hephaestion. Hector 1v1ing. This guy thinks he's the next Achilles. Come on then, show us what you got. Hector with a bash of the left shield. Oh, he's taken a blow to the face there. Another swipe. But he stands much taller than the Achaean soldier, of course. Back and forth, Hector and the brave Achaean soldier that has no name, trying to break down Hector with the left and right. Shields clashing, spears getting splintered, and swords shattered. It's a tremendous 1v1, and he's knocked him out. Hector is victorious. Hooray! There he is, overlooking his father's city of Troy, and I'm assuming Paris is up there somewhere as well. But unfortunately, guys, I have to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. For the first time on the channel, we've seen some Troy gameplay. So huge thank you. Much love from Australia. Stay tuned for more videos on the channel. A huge thank you to the Creative Assembly once more for making this video possible.